Hey everybody, we're back to talk about verbs more. There's plenty to talk about with verbs because they're one of the most important parts of speech in the language. Today, we're going to focus on one of the important features of verbs, the way that we can change to indicate time. It's the way we indicate to the reader when the action took place. We call the quality of their verbs tense. Right? And we change the sound of a verb, and in doing so, we change the meaning of the sentence by changing when the action of the sentence took place. We're going to cover the 6 main tenses of the English language. And to do that, we're going to take the same sentence and change the verb to change when the action of the sentence took place. So let's start with the most basic tense, the present tense. The present tense means that the action is taking place right now. If we walked around the corner, or if we went to Scotland, wherever the action was taking place, we could see it happening right now in the present. So let's look at the sentence. Please note that this is no longer something that actually took place in the play. I was just getting bored, and so this is a sentence that arguably would have made Shakespeare's play better. Macbeth sings, the people dance, and Banquo plays the drums. You see here I'm underlining the verbs in the sentence. Those actions are taking place in the present tense. They're happening right now. Notice, too, that the verb form changes according to number, just like we talked about in the previous video. Macbeth is singular, so Macbeth sings. People is plural, so the people dance. If Macbeth was the one dancing, which would be about just as awesome as if Mr. Goodwin were dancing, it would be Macbeth dances, because Macbeth is singular. The next tense that we're going to talk about is the one that you do most of your writing in, which is the past tense. The past tense is used to describe actions that took place at some previous point in time. So let's say that this party with Macbeth and his friends isn't happening right now, but that it took place, say, yesterday. In that case, Macbeth sang, and people danced, and Banquo played the drums. We can also talk about actions in the future tense, or actions that will take place in the future. So Macbeth will sing, people will dance, and Banquo will play the drums. Notice how now that since the actions are taking place in the future, we need to add a helping verb to the base verb. So the word will that you see here being circled is a helping verb that gives us more information about the verbs in those sentences. The next 3 tenses that we're going to talk about are what are called the perfect tenses. The perfect tenses are tenses that could be described or used to describe completed actions, or actions that have started, taken place, and finished. Look at the present perfect tense. Macbeth has sung, the people have danced, and Banquo has played the drums. Those are actions that have started and have been completed. We call it the present perfect tense because it implies that they will happen again. Macbeth has sung before, and presumably at the next birthday party in Scotland, he will sing again. As much as we hate it, Banquo is always dragging out his drums, and so we can expect to hear them again soon, according to the present perfect tense. Right? So again, actions that have started and been completed, but it's implying that they will happen again. By contrast, the past perfect tense is used to describe actions that have started and ended in the past and are completely finished now, for good. Thank God for some of us. Macbeth had sung, right? The people had danced, and Banquo had played, the drums. And that was then, and this is now. So things have obviously gotten worse for Scotland since everyone started dying. So no one has the time to throw sweet singing and dancing parties anymore. Those actions are completed and done with. So if we were talking about those actions, knowing that they were never going to happen again, we would use the present perfect tense. Finally, we have a tense called the future perfect tense, and it looks like my PowerPoint slide was cut off by the program I'm using to record my voice. Sweet. But it's pretty simple, so I'll just explain it, and hopefully you can do so without the visual. but we call it the future perfect tense, and it's used to describe actions that will be completed in the future. So Macbeth, and I'm just going to write over this in this blank space here, Macbeth will have sung. We could say Duncan will have danced and Banquo will have played his drums, right? And again, we're using it to describe actions that will be completed in the future but haven't yet begun. So those are the 6 major verb tenses in the English language: simple present, simple past, and simple future, as well as present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. They tell us when an action took place and give us some strong information about whether it is a complete action, one that has already been completed, or a more general action that is being described.